This is the foundation, the dark side of trust. We're gonna jump into this stuff, because I mean, a lot of people, they think about trust, and we got this, this view of trust. That's this. I mean, it's got the haze around the edges of the view, and it's all sparkly and glittery. And we just think it's, we can get into these, situations with these entities, and we're able to just be wonderful. Everything is great and gorgeous. And there's really, nothing else to really be concerned with. A lot of people hear the word trust and they think of, it's not advantageous or even something to think about when we're contemplating, maybe a type of trust situation that is not for our benefit. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people, when we think about trust, we think about, how these things can benefit us, how the wealthy use these entities and how, how elastic they are and how all these different things that we can do with these dances, these trusts. Check it out. The idea. Let me jump into this. And anybody, this is a document. I'm gonna be reading from a document. If y'all want the document, email me admin@welcometothefoundation.com, and I'll give you the document. Just you ain't gotta say nothing. Just say document from the show, Dark Side of Trust, or you put dark Trust document. You ain't gotta say peace or nothing. I know we all busy. Everybody busy. We doing our dance. So, I don't want to keep you. But, I'm coming off a document. My bad, I got distracted. Man, gold is over 7. Look, y'all want to get signed up, start grabbing gold. The more expensive gold gets, the harder it's going to be to get your hands on. And, through Carat Bars, they got one product where you can buy gold as little as a tenth of a gram. Like $7, $8. There's no excuse for you not to be, setting aside, real money for your estate. So email me, admin@welcometothefoundation.com. You want to get signed up with Carat Bars. Doesn't cost any money to get signed up. Just do your dance. Do your dance. The idea that government could use trusts to bypass the Constitution and deprive citizens of rights or subject citizens to unexpected duties sounds absurd, right? The idea that governments would use trust to bypass the Constitution and to deprive the people of rights and subject the people to unexpected duties. That would typically sound absurd. You're like, okay, so, hey, what's good? The idea that government could use trust to bypass the Constitution to deprive people of rights or subject people to unexpected duties sounds absurd. But trusts have several major attributes that make this kind of covert oppression possible. There's over 80 different types of trusts. If any person, anyone, tells you they know them all, tell them Sot said you're lying. And he told me to back away from you because I'm not supposed to turn my back on you. Anyone, including government, can create a trust without expressly using the words trust, trustee, grant, grantor, benefit, beneficiary, or any other term that is normally associated with trusts. Did you know that? Did you know that? Did you know that anyone can create a trust, including a government, without expressly using the words trust, trustee, grant, grantor, benefit, beneficiary, or any other term that is normally associated with trust? Regardless of words used, And even when no words are used, it is incumbent on every person to recognize their role in a trust by recognizing the nature of their relationship to another person or trust property. Right? I doubt that one person in 100 can even understand what was just said. Worse, I doubt that one person in 10,000 can recognize a trust relationship whenever they happen to participate in one. For example, suppose you borrow my pen. Insofar as I expect you to return my pen, we have just entered into an unstated trust relationship wherein I am the beneficiary of my pen. Even though neither of us use the word trust, benefit, etc., even though you did not expressly agree to return my pen, I am trusting that you will return my pen. You are trusted with control of my pen, and therefore we have a simple or unexpressed trust relationship. Quitting trust relationships can be just that simple. As a result, it's easy for government to entangle folks in trust relationships and thereby compromise whatever rights they might normally expect to have without people having any idea of what's happening. Further, few people realize that whenever the word application is used by a governmental agency, it typically means application for benefits. For example, when you fill out an application for a driver's license, social security card, or a bank account, you are probably applying for a benefit to be provided by a governmental trust. You can't normally receive a benefit without being a beneficiary. And beneficiaries have no legal rights. A lot of people haven't thought about it from this perspective. It's cool. It's fine. Barely filling out an application, you may unwittingly forfeit your claim to any legal rights or standing at law relative to the trust property. Yikes. If you'd like to see an express trust agreement, you can really just do a Google search, trust indenture template, and you'll find one. I wouldn't use it though. Any other major software provider. The license identifies you as the end user. Anytime you see the word use or user, beware of the possible presence of a trust relationship. In the case of software, Microsoft makes it clear that you don't own the software product. You merely get to use it on one or maybe more computers. But at all times, real ownership of the product remains with Microsoft. They own legal title to the software. Your license merely gives you an equitable title or interest to use their software. If you don't like your limited rights as a beneficiary, your only option is to return the software, the trust property. Otherwise, by continuing to use the software, which accepts the benefit of being able to use it, you have virtually no legal rights against Microsoft. If the software crashes, your computer destroys the database that runs your business, or causes your accounting software to add a zero to the amount of money your computer sends by check to each of your creditors, as a beneficiary, you have almost no recourse at law against the grantor, trust, or trustee. Thus, even without any express indication that your application can bind you to a trust relationship and resulting diminished status can be impressed on your life. When you fill out the application, you probably thought you'd receive some free benefits. Silly you. What you didn't know, and they had no obligation to disclose to you, was that you'd pay for the beneficial pottage with the surrender of your unalienable rights. If you should ever lodge a complaint against the trust or trustees, the courts will silently presume that, 1, you recognized the trust relationship when you applied to become a beneficiary, and 2, You knowingly and voluntarily surrendered your unalienable rights and legal rights when you applied to become a beneficiary. And this is the thing right here. A lot of people going in the court and go, I'm private, I'm sovereign, or whatever they're saying. And these courts, these judges, these administrators, specifically their administrators, are taking silent judicial notice of the fact that you have put in so many applications and have not rescinded them. And as you are claiming all of this status or whatever, you are actually, you feel what I'm saying? Based on those silent presumptions, you will lose your case, insofar as the average person can't even imagine that they could be seduced into surrendering their unalienable rights by filling out a mere application. They will never raise an effective defense in court against the imposition of duties or loss of rights under an unseen governmental trust. Do you see the potential power? Even though trusts are virtually invisible to 98% of Americans, even though we have no training in trusts during our grade school, high school, or college education, we are expected to see trust relationships whenever we encounter them. If we fail to see those trust relationships, we will still be bound by their invisible chains. But if you can't see those invisible chains, how can you complain about them to court? If you don't expressly complain about those chains, the court will leave them in place. Thus, through trusts, you can be effectively enslaved without even knowing how the enslavement occurred. Unlike contractual relationships, there's no requirement for full disclosure when you create a trust and designated someone to be a beneficiary. This lack of disclosure, they didn't provide full disclosure on the contract. I hear that all the time. I be having to fix people's mental errors all the time when it comes to this law stuff. This wasn't full disclosure on the contract. There's no requirement for full disclosure when it comes to a trust contract or a trust indenture. Get it? The best illustration of this attribute is the fact that I can create a trust and designate my beneficiary. There's no requirement that I fully disclose the terms of the trust to my beneficiary. Why? Because as a beneficiary, she is presumed incompetent and unable to understand the operation of a trust. Did you know that? Did you know as a beneficiary you were presumed incompetent and unable to understand the operation of a trust? Why? And I'm a beneficiary. It is a birth certificate. And then the Rule 220. And people are y'all wondering. You wonder why I'm like, here's the foundation. Y'all need to learn the foundation. What is the foundation? Contract and Trust Administration. So sorry. Similar presumptions allow governments to impose trust on adult beneficiaries who are also deemed incompetent to understand the relevant trust privileges and duties. There is no more need to fully disclose trust rules and regulations to adult beneficiaries than there is to fully disclose trust rules and regulations to children. Similarly, government can create a trust and designate you as a beneficiary of that trust without expressly informing you of that fact. Did you know that? We're missing the foundation. As a result, whenever you relate to property of that governmental trust, you will have no legal rights and will be treated as a mere beneficiary in a court of equity. Pick it as a beneficiary, okay, and you wonder why you're a parental figure over your child or minor children, and why parental rights only go so far when it comes to the state. Could that be due to an unrecognized trust relationship? I don't know. That's a good question. Is it a good question? I think it's a good question. Let's keep questioning. Insofar as we are presumed to have accepted appointment as trustees, we can also be bound by rules which have never been expressly explained to us, even by arbitrary rules that ordinarily would be exceed the constitutional limits of government's delegated powers. Insofar as we are presumed to have accepted the status of beneficiary, we can also be bound by rules which have never been expressly explained to us, and even by arbitrary rules that ordinarily would be exceeding the constitutional limits of government's delegated powers. For example, under the Constitution, government has no authority to penalize a man who has not damaged another person's body or property. However, if that person enters into a trust relationship with government, government can absolutely regulate and even punish that man's act whenever they violate arbitrary trust rules, policies, codes, statutes, blah, blah. Even if no other person or person's property has been damaged. There's no damage to property. There's no I harm no person or property, and this is a kangaroo court, man. Because you don't understand, you don't recognize the trust relationship. People don't want to hear me though. Oh, I'm a man of the land, and it's just people. I be telling people will pay for a consultation, make a donation for a consultation. I will tell them the truth, and they will be mad at me. Oh, he's not a lawyer or attorney. He doesn't know. He's not someone who was in the public and left the public, walked away from the public, and went private and started teaching people. Actually, yes, I am. But whatever. In some, trusts can be created and imposed without express words, without full or any disclosure, and without our express knowledge, which is in secret. As a result, trust can be used as invisible snares to trap all of us into relationships and roles which compromise our rights, reduce us to the status of subjects, and impose unwanted duties. And insofar as we are totally unaware of trusts and their strange powers, they are virtually invisible to us, and thus virtually impossible for the vast majority of Americans to resist or escape. The dark side of trust. Full disclosure. It's a void contract because it lacks full disclosure. It's not a contract. It's a trust relationship, fam. And with regards to a trust relationship, there's no requirement for full disclosure. What? What do you mean? You're an agent. You're an agent. You're trying to sell me back into slavery. You're trying to tell me. Please. As a defendant, how can you stop a case against you based on implied trust relationship? If my constructive trust theory implied trust, there may be possible strategies. First, you might argue that the court's great assumption that there was a trust relationship between you, the alleged defendant, the trustee, and the plaintiff or beneficiary was actually false. You might argue that the relationship was always conducted at arm's length, and therefore no trust was created. Alternatively, you might argue that a payment in real money, gold or silver coin, was included in the transaction, or that the alleged debt was paid in full. The trust had therefore been executed, and no trust relationship remained for the judge to construe. Argue? No, we don't argue. We private. And this is me talking. This is Sot. I'm not reading, G. We private. We don't argue. We deal with writs and affidavits. We deal with facts. An affidavit is fact, point by point, under penalty of perjury, blah, blah. I'm not arguing nothing in the court. I'm bringing facts. I'm putting it on the record for the record. And boom, plan. Y'all can do a dance. Watch what happens when you do your dance like that. If there's no trust relationship, there's probably no basis for hearing a case in equity. The plaintiff has implicitly conceded that they have no legal rights relative to the controversy with the plaintiff. If he had legal rights, he should have proceeded at law. So if the plaintiff has no legal right relative to the controversy with the plaintiff, he can't invoke the court of law. And if there's no trust relationship for the plaintiff to base a claim in equity, how can the plaintiff sue? Second, you might concede that a trust relationship did, in fact, exist between you, the alleged defendant / trustee, and the plaintiff, but it was intended to be a different trust relationship, possibly biblical. From the secular trust relationship, the court attempted to construe. If the judge misconstrued your original but unexpressed intentions, he would have construed the wrong trust. Therefore, his resultant court order expressed trust indenture might be a nullity. For example, suppose you're tangled up in a divorce or custody battle and your spouse appears in court as a beneficiary plaintiff and you are assumed the defendant trustee. The judge will want to rule in the best interests of the child according to a secular trust relationship based on birth certificates, Social Security accounts, and your marriage license. But what would happen if you defended yourself claiming that the only trust you were aware of or knowingly entered into was a trust in God, where the terms of the marriage, divorce, child custody, and support would be spelled in your trust indenture, the Bible. You can say the Quran. There's a lot of different, it's not just Christianity, and that's the thing, any, faith where you are following the law of God, which means you're claiming natural law, you are above secular law. Did you know that? Wow. Thus, despite the secular hooks of the marriage license, birth certificate, and Social Security accounts, you might be able to mount a strong defense based on your First Amendment right of freedom of religion. And we all with child support, this title, what is that? Title 42, it's section 666. From what I understand is the mark of the beast to Christians. That's the section that they use to collect child support. Y'all can look that up. Blah. Of course, you probably have to refute, revoke, or otherwise compromise the legal impact of the various secular hooks. For example, when the court prepared to decide the case in the best interest of your alleged child, you might argue that you're a natural man and not a parent to any alleged child who was, in fact, an artificial entity. Instead, you might claim that your only daughter is the flesh and blood offspring, and therefore, your only trust relationship with that child is expressly described in the faith trust indenture called the Bible. We got about 60 seconds left in the broadcast, man. I'm about to stream. I'm going over. I'm feeling energized. I'm feeling juiced. So I'm going to go over. 60 seconds. So if you're listening online, you got to call in. You can probably hear her all in my ear. You want to call in 424-222-5250. Otherwise, you will be disconnected. And you will have to check out the rest of the show in the archive. So bring it. Where was I? Third, you might argue that although a trust relationship did in fact exist between you and the plaintiff beneficiary was in breach of that trust relationship and therefore lacked the clean hands required to invoke a court of equity. A classic illustration of clean hands doctrine is seen in the story of Jesus telling the crowd bent on stoning a sinful woman to death that he who is without sin cast the first stone, since everyone in the crowd was also guilty of sin. They lacked the clean hands required to act against their fellow sinner. Today, the clean hands doctrine simply says that a plaintiff may not ask for equity if he hasn't given equity. In other words, you can't invoke the court of equity to force your neighbor to return the lawnmower he borrowed if you are equally guilty of first refusing to return your neighbor's power saw. So far as I know, the issue of clean hands is irrelevant at law. If you invoke a court of law, not equity, and produce your legal title to the lawnmower, the court of law will compel your neighbor to return the lawnmower, even if you are simultaneously guilty of refusing to return the neighbor's power saw. That's because in that realm, that's failure to state a claim for which relief could be granted. Because if the neighbor wants his property back, he can produce legal title to the missing property and invoke a court of law. It occurs to me that the requirement for clean hands to invoke a court of equity might explain why family law underwent no-fault divorce resolution in the 1950s and 1960s. Prior to no-fault, your personal unhappiness with the spouse was insufficient reason to sanctify divorce. If you wanted, man, look, let's do talking about divorce. Let's move on. Fourth, even if an implied trust relationship between the plaintiff and defendant is admitted, it might be terminated without judicial action, insofar as the two parties could create the trust relationship without the government's knowledge or official sanction. It follows that the parties could also terminate that trust relationship without government intervention. As defendant, you might officially and publicly resign as trustee before the case is heard. We see possible evidence of this strategy in public notices, which read something to the effect that I, John Doe, am no longer responsible.
I gotta back up. So I can be heard. You know, hear me? They kicked me off. I lost connection on my other one. My bad. But I'm still here, right? So where was I? I, John Doe, am no longer responsible for the debts of Jane Doe. That public disclaimer would seem to terminate an express or assumed trust relationship that had previously existed between Mr. Doe, assumed trustee, and his former wife or beneficiary. Fifth, less likely but remotely possible, suppose the original implied unexpressed trust relationship between the plaintiff and the defendant is successfully construed into a constructive trust and results in a court order, which is an express trust indenture. The defendant trustee might still be able to simply decline or resign from his appointment as an official trustee who is obligated to administer the constructive trust. After all, according to the 13th Amendment, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Serving as a trustee appears to be a form of unpaid servitude to the beneficiaries or the trust or both. It therefore seems unreasonable and unconstitutional to force a man to serve as a trustee against his will. If you volunteer to be trustee, fine. But no involuntary servitude should mean that if you refuse to volunteer, you can't be forced to serve as a trustee. I think that's very interesting. But let's leave it there. I appreciate y'all. Let me, what do you think? What do you think? I'm interested to know what you think. I'm interested to know if this blew your mind. I'm interested to know if this was something that you were already familiar with, or if this is something that completely caught you off guard. I'm very, very interested. But yeah, there are implied trust relationships that exist every day. We just don't recognize them. We don't see them. A lot of us don't understand the relationship between the creator, the grantor, the earth, the trust corpus, and the trustee beneficiary, which is us. And how that relates to how we live. And I think, if we took into consideration this ultimate primary trust relationship and valued it, we would all have a fundamental and significantly different experience on this realm. Hands down. Maybe I know for a fact you would take yourself more seriously. I know for a fact you would be good to yourself. You would take better care of yourself, better care of the people around you, better care of your surroundings, your environment, your community. But don't be too hard on yourself. You got to understand, like we in the information age, which the industrial age, that was war of economics, war of scale of economies, war of industries. But in the information, we in the war of the worlds, and it's their mind against your mind, or our minds against your mind, or your mind against my mind, and that this is the war of the worlds. And without proper knowledge and information in the information age, we are destroyed. We destroy our bodies, we destroy our health, we destroy our relationships, we destroy ourselves, we destroy our happiness, we destroy our peace of mind because we lack knowledge. And just, I can point out unseen trust relationships between you and your so-called government. But what does that mean? What are you going to do? Are you going to change anything? Are you going to do anything different? Are you going to be more responsible? I don't know. I can't make you do anything. I believe in you. I know you can do whatever you want to, whatever you put your mind to. But I know I can't make you do anything. I just hope that I can inspire you. I trust that I can inspire you to make moves, inspire you to grab a hold of your creator spirit, your God spirit, however you want to look at it, your spark spirit, and move with purpose and vigor on this physical plane. Because nothing's guaranteed, and we walk amongst death every day. And you never know when your time is. And I would assume that you would like your time here to be significant. Or are you more focused on being successful? All I'm trying to do is point it out. Y'all, it's like we walking outside, and I'm just pointing out stuff to y'all. Like, you see that? You see that? You see that? You see that? You make your own decision. You make your own choice. I got the foundation. Welcome to the foundation.com. We put in a lot of work here on High Frequency. I'm not even going to say I, because I'm part of a team. And we put in a lot of work here. But it's for y'all. It's because I believe in y'all. It's because I don't believe the crap. And I know we got this. But you got to believe in yourself, and we got to educate ourselves. We got to learn. We got to study. Like I said, that document, it really opens your mind. It makes you think about things that we've never thought about, and really that's what we need to do. We really just need to be thinking about things that we've never thought about before. We need to be putting ourselves into the position to experience information or situations that we've never experienced or been a part of. This is how we learn. This is how we grow. This is how we become better as individuals, as a people. And, don't believe the hype. Don't believe what we're told about ourselves, especially the negative stuff, because it's a bunch of crap. And it's an excuse. It's a cop-out. We're better than that. So I just wanted to talk about the dark side of trust. You know, a lot of people, you know, we're looking at the one side of the coin when we live in a dualistic, three-dimensional reality. A lot of people are only looking at the single ism, right? And that's the trust, you know, how it's going to, and I'm going private and blah, blah, blah. Like, but yo, we don't understand the trust relationships that we're in right now. Presumed. A lot of us don't understand the dark side of trust. And if you don't understand the dark side, if you don't know what could go wrong in a situation, you run a higher risk of it going wrong. If you don't know there's a good way and a bad way to do things, it's a higher possibility that you might do it the wrong way, the bad way. So, you know, it's just, you know, I'm just trying to, you know, my goal is to shake and bake you. No, I'm just playing. It's to help wake you up, you know, because you're not stupid, you're not slow, you're not dumb, you're just sleeping. You're just unconscious. You're not conscious. Once you become conscious and aware, everything changes. So there it is. Welcome to the foundation.com. PDF section. You check out the education tab. Look, if you email me, admin at welcometothefoundation.com, we're doing 50% off all the education, all of it. Just don't grab it from the website. You got to email. You got to email me. Admin at welcometothefoundation.com. That's Passport No Social. That's the Trust series. That's the Trust Primer. That's everything on the website in the education. 50% off, and that's until further notice. You know, I'm not looking to update the site, but, you know, email admin at welcometothefoundation.com. You go to the website and make it. You missed out. This is your official notice right here. And if you don't, you know, if you fail to state a claim which can be granted, it will not be granted. So admin at welcometothefoundation.com. I believe in you. I'm here and invested in your education. We applaud the beginners. Everybody starts somewhere. And I know a lot of the beginners, you can be nervous and self-conscious. Man, damn all that. Damn that. It's time to do this dance. So admin at welcometothefoundation.com. You know, you want to get set up in the, you know, carrot bars, small denominations of gold, man. It just makes it affordable. You know, you're going to save money if you buy larger denominations. Yes. Do I have the money to buy a larger denomination? No. So what does it matter if I can save money buying larger denominations of gold? I don't have it. So at least I can get my hands on denominations that I can afford. It doesn't break the bank. It doesn't hurt my family. And right now, as far as I'm concerned, I can only see that through carrot bars. A lot of stuff is shut down. And even still, like, where can you go buy a 1/10 of an ounce of gold? Maybe a gram of gold, but a 1/10 of an ounce? Nah. So admin at welcometothefoundation.com. I was asked if I accept Bitcoin. Do we accept Bitcoin? Does the foundation accept Bitcoin? Yes. And any other cryptocurrency. Anything beyond Bitcoin, Ethereum, you know, the normal stuff, just shoot me an email. Admin at welcometothefoundation.com. But yeah, Bitcoin, we accept Bitcoin. Email for the wallet. And I'll shoot it to you. But yeah, that's the show. I mean, I'm going to go to the phone lines. I don't know. I don't know. What time is it? What time is it? What time is it? 45 after. Maybe I'm gonna skip the phone. I might skip the calls tonight. I mean, I love y'all, but I think I'm gonna skip the calls tonight. I just feel like it's a good thing to do right now. But, you know, As always, I appreciate y'all checking out the show. It's nothing personal. If you press the 1 on your handset, it's not because I'm seeing your number and I don't want to talk to you. It has nothing to do with it. I'm just kind of I'm going to chill. I'm going to chill. I'm going to chill with the fans. But I love y'all. And I'm here for you. As we walk through this wealth transfer, it's very important to have your estate set up. What's a wealth transfer if you don't have any private entities to hold the wealth? You didn't transfer nowhere. It went from the public to the public. I don't care if it is your name and you Minnesota Rule 220'd it. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Show me. I've been talking about this, this account, whatever this is, for years. I did not know it was going to come because of a virus. I really had no idea. I did think heavily that it was going to be some sort of black swan event, and that's what happened. Black swan. No one saw it coming. No one could have anticipated that it was going to be some sort of virus. Well, maybe some people could have, but not little old me. But, what I've been talking about, what I've been trying to prepare everyone for, we're in the middle of it. Now, you're not out of time. It's not too late. But, you're really pushing it to wire, fam. You're pushing it to the wire. And if you're a procrastinator and that's what you do, good job, because you procrastinated almost to the end. So, if you're looking to get in trustee training, get your private estate set up, business trust, asset trust, family trust, email me, admin@welcometothefoundation.com, and we'll take it from there. Because I know it's important. With that being said, I appreciate y'all. I trust y'all have a great week. Enjoy your week. Nothing personal with regards to not taking calls. It's just, I'm gonna go chill, y'all. I'm gonna go chill. Y'all continue to invest in your private education. Continue to get your learn on, do your dance. Don't worry about the boo-hoo, chugga chugga choo choo. We keep it moving. I'm telling you. And with that being said, enjoy your week. Have a great week. Don't trip. Don't stress. Don't worry. We all gonna be good. Everything's gravy. And I'll catch y'all next week for another episode of The Foundation here on High Frequency Radio Network. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Take care of yourself. Enjoy yourself. Make sure you say 10 things you're thankful for before you go to sleep. And I'll catch you on the next show. Peace to the guys.
Doing this thing all the way live. High Frequency Radio.